Hello, everybody, and welcome back to TechZulu Live from South by Southwest. I'm your host, Amanda Coulong, and I am now sitting here with Alexis Rodich of Bandsintown. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am good, but I hear that you've had a long journey to get to South by this year.
Yes, indeed. My fiance is actually an artist, so he's performing at several shows this week, so we decided to drive up together rather than taking the flight so he could have his gear come up with him. So it was fun. That was my first time driving through Arizona. Beautiful. New Mexico. Yeah, it was great.
A lot of people tend to do the road trip to South by. Is it something that you think you'll do again?
I think I would. It's a matter of time. I mean, it was a 24-hour drive, which is a lot, but at the same time, it was 24 hours to kind of calm before the storm. Yeah. So that was great.
Yeah, people tend to either drive out or they grab rental cars or whatnot after the fact and then go on some crazy road trip. I don't know why South by inspires that in people, but it just does.
Most unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but I'm actually going to Winter Music Conference next week as well, so no road trip for me right away, but, you know, a slight drive back, which will be nice.
And so you are out here partially for interactive, but are you also here for music, I would assume, with Bandsintown?
Yeah, absolutely. Our company actually straddles both worlds in that we were founded as a tech startup and we consider ourselves a very product-focused company. Mm-hmm. We make tools that that fans can use to discover upcoming concerts when they in their area. So we send recommendations and notifications when folks come to town. At the same time, we also have a platform that artists use to manage and promote their upcoming tour dates online. And we have in terms of artists that actually use us for that purpose, we have about 125,000 of them now that range all the way from Beyonce and Bruno Mars and Tim McGraw all the way down to up-and-coming artists, which is great. And so in terms of my purpose here, it's both because we're technology-focused. I like to interact with the folks on the digital side and get to know different partners, and then also be here for interactive so I can interact with the folks that use our products on the artist services side too.
That's great. You really do get the best of both worlds. And I bet it's fun, too, being at South by when you can mix those together very efficiently.
Oh, yeah. It's great. And it's a great opportunity. You know, as you say, there's nothing better than firsthand feedback on your products. And here we get to meet passionate music fans as well as the folks, again, that use our products on a day-to-day basis on the artist side. So we get lots of feedback and a great chance to connect with our users, which is what we love.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's something I think that it's easy for us to forget when we're here at South by because there's so much networking happening and mixing and mingling and parties and whatnot, but you really do have access to some of the best people as it relates to understanding what features to have in your product or maybe some interesting use cases that you weren't expecting or talk about even being able to onboard different artists or, you know, get some of those initial high-level users of your product. So did that help Bandsintown initially?
Oh, yeah. Our users have been instrumental in terms of shaping our products. You know, we like to, as none of us were actually in bands to begin with.
Really?
Yeah, well, I should give you a little bit of background. Sure. Bandsintown was actually started in 2007 by two guys who just did not want to miss their upcoming concerts in their area. So it was literally like solving their own problem. They built a product to eat their own dog food, as they say, and that was their goal, to make sure they didn't miss concerts. And so in 2010, we did a bit of a pivot and then opened up on the artist services side. But up until then, we were, of course, our biggest users because we're all passionate music fans. And so before then, we were always able to talk to music fans. But then this gave us a chance to talk to the artists and the folks on the digital side that use our products as well.
Who was the first big win on the artist side for Bandsintown? Or one of?
There is a couple major pivotal moments, and I should tell you it's kind of funny how we started because I think that this is one of those inspirational like tech startup stories. You know, people always think
they all are. Startups are awesome.
I know, startups are rad, but it was one of those things where there was just four of us, and we'd done angel funding, not a venture round, and so it was just really a lot of passion and when we started the Artist Services platform, it was actually me that was responsible for growing it. And I started by just looking up on Polestar and emailing every band manager I could find and just being like, can you try our little product? Would you mind giving it a shot? And literally just staying up all night typing emails. And now we have 125,000 artists using it. It's amazing. But in terms of big wins, I'd say one of the huge ones was the Dave Matthews Band when they added us. That was very early on. And then also quite early on as well, Tom Windish of the Windish Agency sent an email out to all of his clients saying, you got to try out this product, it's awesome. And so for us, is things like that, people willing to take a leap on new technology, that made a huge difference in the growth of our company.
And just the validation you must feel from that too.
Oh, absolutely. But at the same time, I think that it comes down to trust. And I think that they knew that if they were willing to take a leap on us, we would be listening to them, incorporating their feedback, making sure that we were there all the time. Because while most people work, well, at the startup world, people work all the time. But while most people work, you know, during the work week, 9 to 5 or whatever, we know that artists and their teams work all the time, at night, on weekends, etc.
So it's like a startup culture in and of itself.
Exactly. But that's how we want to be available. And it's the same thing to music fans. I mean, people go to shows and, you know, they go to shows at night and all the time, and we want to make sure that our product is available and relevant to them whenever they need it.
Right. God, I just love that so much, thinking about how can we compare startups to the bands, and also the value proposition you just raised in terms of, as an artist, if you get on board with something earlier, or as an influencer of any kind, if you take a chance with a startup, if you take a chance with a new product, you can actually help shape that product, literally shape that product with ideas for new features, benefits, whatever it might be. And not everyone gets a chance to do that, so that's pretty exciting.
Oh yeah, it's a huge reward, and it's funny because I meet people that have been, it's 2013 now, so I meet people that have been using our product since we first launched in 2010, and I just want to run up and give them a big hug and be like, you know, thank you for sticking with us, thank you for the input, because this would not be what it is without you guys. Right. And that's how, and we continue that culture. You know, it's the whole idea of, you know, in the lean startup movement, they call it customer development. Well, this is kind of our form of customer development and of keeping folks involved. But again, on the fan side of our business, we have about 4.5 million people now that receive regular updates on their favorite, when their favorite bands are coming to town, through email. We have 2 mobile apps that do push notifications when their bands are coming to town, etc. And we try to be just as receptive to them and just as open to them. So.
Now, have you ever taken any funding aside from the initial angel funding?
Yes, we actually got acquired. Very exciting. In 2011, we got acquired by a company called Selfish Media that are based in New York, and it's been incredible. They're a mobile and social apps developer, a much larger company, but they've done a phenomenal job of working with us, helping us keep the Bandsintown culture while scaling it to, our growth has been astronomical, and much of that is due to their work with us.
That is so exciting. Congratulations. Now, is there anything specific that you are doing with Bandsintown at this particular South by?
We don't have any specific product launches or anything like that for this particular South by Southwest. In general, we're constantly iterating, constantly updating our products, and so there's no major announcements of that kind. But we do have several members of our team down here, and again, it's to connect with music fans and artists, and you know, really get firsthand feedback on what's going on and take the pulse of the industry. So we're excited to be here. And it's also great to meet with other tech companies. You know, as right now, I'd say we're very much on the music industry side, so at least that's how it feels, yet our heart is on the tech startup side. And so getting to meet with other folks that have been in that same place, that have a vision and have brought it to fruition, it's always exciting.
Well, you've definitely sold a lot of folks here, I would think, on why they should come to South by Southwest. Is there anything else specific that you think of with South by in terms of benefits or just the experience overall?
I think South by Southwest is an amazing opportunity for relationship building of any kind. It's not about, I would say that it's not about networking in the traditional sense of, here's my business card and, you know, like that, but it's more like, let's have a shared experience. Let's have a memory. You know, it's funny, last year I actually had my pair of shoes stolen.
I saw a random heel on the sidewalk last year, a random shoe by itself.
That might have been mine. But anyway, what was so funny about having this pair of shoes stolen or taken or whatever was that the people I was with now, I mean, I work with all the time, and they still remember me as the girl that got her shoes taken. And I mean, that's just one example. But the point is that it's an opportunity to bond and build relationships with the people you work with, the people that use your products, in a way that you otherwise wouldn't have time to in a quick meeting. Now you have days together, and it just makes a huge difference. I recommend it to everyone, and I especially recommend it to music fans as well. I think a lot of people think of it as an industry event, and it is an industry event, but the collection, the concentration rather of talent that is in town this week is unbelievable. So I highly recommend it for both of those reasons.
I mean, I live in Los Angeles, and I'm used to walking down the street going, oh, there goes X famous person, and that's normal in LA. But it's even crazier when you're in Austin for South by, because you don't know who you're going to bump into, whether it's on the tech side, whether it's on the music side, film. I mean, and everyone is so open, and they're in such a good mood. It's like everyone pops a happy pill when they get on the plane to come to South by. I don't understand. It just, even when it's a downpour, it was raining last night, torrential downpour. And to your point, the shared experience. That is absolutely, in my opinion, too, what it is. It's not networking in the traditional sense. It's, I just had to get in a pedicab with a massive thing sticking out of the back of it because we had a step and repeat that we needed to get from one location to another, and a pedicab was the only way to do it. Yep. Laughing all the way.
And next thing you know, you're sharing an umbrella with someone that you never met. I mean, that really is what it's about. And it's those chance encounters, and they're equally effective, but I think they're so important, and I definitely recommend it. I think I've always had a good experience here, and it's exactly those reasons why, and those out of the blue reasons, like having to share an umbrella at the last minute or something like that. And I think, speaking to your point about the people you run into on the street, I think one of the things that makes South by Southwest so special is that it's creators. It's creative people of all kinds, whether they're creative in the terms of startups in the film industry, whether they're artists, whether they're artist managers or their digital teams. Everybody's creative, and you get this many creative minds together, and there's just this palpable energy and excitement and mutual respect that it's wonderful.
No wonder everyone is so happy then.
Exactly, no wonder. And
I mean, look at us.
And inspired, and you run home and you're like, and I want to do this with my product, and that with my product, I want to do this and that, and then you have to talk to your product team.
Exactly.
But no, it's an incredible experience. So,
well, thank you so much for your time, and I want to make sure all of you check out Bandsintown.
Yes, absolutely. Download our mobile apps in particular. They're both highly rated on the iTunes Store and on Android, and they're a great way to discover wherever you go. So if you travel a lot for work or anything, what shows are coming up, RCP, buy tickets right away. Those are great.
Great. I'm excited, and we are still here at South by Southwest Interactive. Still more to come, so stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. I'm your host, Amanda Coulon. This is Alexis with Bandsintown, and we will catch up with you soon.